I am Oluwafunke Israel with news nationwide. First headlines. Federal government inaugurates committee to streamline NEL fund. Osun rural women advocate for climate change policy. And on the state security and Motekum Corps rescues 5 kidnapped victims. Now the news in full. The federal government has set up a committee to address grey areas and the disbursement of student loans due to growing concerns of fraud allegations at NEL Fund. The Minister of Education, Dr. Olatunji Alausa, made this known in Abuja during a meeting with heads of tertiary institutions and the Managing Director of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. The committee, headed by the Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Professor Abdullahi Ribadu, heads of tertiary institutions, NEL Fund, and officials of the ministry have been given 3 weeks to develop clear timelines to guide the disbursement of and process and ensure effective service delivery. Dr. Alausa explained that investigations by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) revealed there was no misappropriation of funds meant for student loans, only issues regarding the process of registration and disbursement. The minister urged the tertiary institutions to allow the students that apply for the loan to continue with their academic activities until the issues are sorted out and proper verifications are made. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board on Wednesday finally admitted to errors as the major cause of the performance of students in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Registrar of the board, Professor Isa Koloede, admitted to this at a press briefing in Abuja.
Once again, we apologize and assure you that this incident represents a significant set for the we remain committed to emerging
Recall of the 1.9 million candidates who sat for the UTME, over 1.5 million reportedly scored below 200 out of the maximum 400 marks, raising concerns across the education sector. The Senate has confirmed the appointment of 5 resident electoral commissioners after it considered the report by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Electoral Matters, Senator Simon Lalong, during plenary on Wednesday. Lalong urged the Senate to confirm the nomination of 5 individuals as resident electoral commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission, having passed the screening exercise. The newly appointed regs are Umar Yusuf Garuba, Kano State; Sahad Umar Idris Bauchi, Chukwemeka Ebeziako, Anambra; Umar Mukhtar Borno and Johnson Alalibo Sinikem, Bayelsa State. In the meantime, the president has transmitted a proposed 1.78 trillion naira statutory appropriation bill for the Federal Capital Territory to the Senate for approval for the 2025 financial year. In his letter to the Senate, President Tinubu urged the lawmaker to speed up action on the bill, as it is critical to ensure an effective and service-oriented administration for residents of the FCT. Civil servants who participated in government-sponsored capacity training programs abroad have failed to return after completing their courses. As part of efforts to enhance the human capacity development of staff, state government, Lagos State Government said it consistently organized training programs abroad for its civil servants 70% of the staff, however, returned, while 30 failed to return to the country. Lagos State Commissioner for Establishment and Training, Afolabi Ayotayo, on Wednesday during the 2025 ministerial briefing on the activities to mark the second year of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's second term in Alausa, Ikeja, also mentioned that aside those who absconded, several other workers had left the state for better opportunities abroad. Speaking on the ministry's significant achievement, the commissioner highlighted the implementation of an upward review in workers' minimum wage from 35% to 80, from 35,000 naira to 85,000 naira by Governor Sanwo-Olu-led administration. A one-day workshop on drafting and validation of rural agriculture, women's perspective on Osun State's climate action has kicked off in Osogbo, Osun State capital. The workshop, funded by Urgent Action Fund Africa, is focused on advocating for a gender-reflective policy for the state's climate change action. The State Commissioner for Environment and Sanitation, Adejori Maiwa Adeniyi, charged the women farmers to embrace the many benefits provided by the government. At the opening of the workshop, the Commissioner for Innovation, Science and Technology and Digital Economy, Dele Olatunji Ayofemoru, calls on the women who are at the front line of agriculture in the rural areas to amplify their voice and to be counted in the inclusive, intensive and sustainable plan action for Osun State. The workshop had in attendance representatives from the Osun State Ministries of Agriculture, Innovation, Science and Technology, among others, with participants from Women Farmers Association, academics and members of various civil society organizations. This is Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikijile, Ijesha. News nationwide will continue shortly. Thanks for staying tuned for news update and live stream, and visit our website at vicinity953fm.com.ng. Send an email to vicinitynewsroom@gmail.com or call 081-4365-8302 for breaking news around you. You can also follow us on Facebook, YouTube and TikTok at Vicinity 95.3 FM. Now the rest of the news. Survivors and victims of the January 16, 2024 Bodija explosion to receive financial support from Oyo State government. At the State Executive Council meeting held at the Governor's office on Wednesday, the government approved a sum of 4.5 billion naira for those affected by the devastating incident. Recall, Governor Seyi Makinde had on December 24, 2024 inaugurated a 10-man committee headed by the State Deputy Governor Bayo Lawal to oversee the management and disbursement of relief funds to those who lost property to the explosion. No fewer than 5 people died in the sad incident caused by a water gel type based explosive triggered by an electric spark at Adiriola Street, rented by one Mahmoud Kamara, a Malian engaged in mining and storing explosives in the residential area. Ondo State Security Network, codename Amotekun Corps, rescued kidnapped victims. Speaking on the development on Wednesday, the commander of Amotekun Corps, Adetunji Adeleye, said the victims' family members had been seeking 150 million naira ransom for their release. In a twist of events, the victims were rescued without any payment of ransom and secured from the adopters' hideout. 4 of the victims kidnapped along the Ore-Ijebu expressway in Odigbo local government of the state, while one other victim was rescued around Ifon Forest 5 days after he was adopted at his residence in Okweme community along Owo Ikare Road in our local government. The state Amotekun commander enjoined residents of the state to always provide timely security information to the Corps following the deployment of Amotekun Rangers into all the major forests and locations in the state to curb criminality. Nigerian military has reassured citizens of its capacity to subdue terrorists after it confirmed a series of recent attacks on its bases carried out by Boko Haram and ISWAP insurgents in Borno State. At a press briefing in Maiduguri, the Theatre Commander of Operation Adin K. Abubakar confirmed the attacks on 3 military bases on Dikwa and Garijam, which failed. The troops engaged in a ground duel with the insurgents and ran, killing 4 of its soldiers and the headquarters of Kalabati, a local government area. The Theatre Commander pointed to the deteriorating security situation in the Greater Sahel region as a major factor contributing to the resurfacing of attacks, not a resurgence of the groups to their former strength. He reassured the public of the military's commitment to eradicating terrorism in the region. News nationwide and a look at the headlines. The federal government has set up a committee to address grey areas and the disbursement of student loans due to growing concerns of fraud allegations at the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. I told you that at a one-day workshop on drafting and validation of rural agricultural women's perspective on Osun State's climate action kicked off in Osogbo, the Osun State capital. The workshop, funded by Urgent Action, is focused on advocating for a gender-reflective policy for state climate change. Lastly, you heard the Ondo State Security Network, codename Amotekun Corps, rescued victims adopted in Ore Odigbo and another in Upeme community in Owo Ikare Road. That was News Nationwide. It was packaged in a detailed Palua from Israel. Thanks for listening. Good evening.
Radio just got excited.
Let's go.
This is
Vicinity FM 95.3. Welcome to the heartbeat of the city. Hear the rhythm of the streets. Vicinity FM 95.3.
We lead while others follow. We lead while others follow.